CEO of Golf RSA Grant Hepburn, thank you very much for your time today. I imagine you, like many other sporting administrators and sports bosses around the country, if not the world, are certainly feeling the pinch of COVID-19 and the effects. Maybe start by telling me just how, in your perspective, golf in South Africa has been hit incredibly hard by this outbreak.
Yeah, hi, thanks for having me. Look, it's no secret that no matter what sport you are or what industry you are, this crisis doesn't discriminate. We're all in a very difficult place right now. And I think all we can do is our best under the circumstances. And I think, it's really important to think of those that are less fortunate than us. You think of the casual workers, the caddies, the people that have already lost their jobs, people that are living on the breadline, had no savings. It's really a tremendously difficult time, and that's something that we're looking at right now.
Now, I know with so many sports being called off around the globe, many would argue that, a lot of different sporting federations are all in the same boat. But tell me why then that you feel golf perhaps has been hit slightly harder by this than perhaps some other sports. I know around 400 clubs around the country have been shut down because of this. So do you feel that golf has been harder hit than perhaps some other sporting codes?
I think it's a difficult thing to say that golf has been harder hit than other sporting codes. I don't believe it's necessarily been harder hit. I think that this is pretty much a knockout punch for most organizations, most sporting codes. And we probably won't know the repercussions for quite some time, but what we do know is where we currently are it's a difficult place.
Grant, I do want to speak about the relief fund that's been set up in just a moment's time, but correct me if I'm wrong. There's been a push from golfing departments around South Africa to try and get golf courses be reopened. There's the belief that golf, in essence, is generally good in practicing social distancing. Is that the belief from Golf RSA that perhaps level 4 can be relaxed even further to allow golf courses around the country to remain or to open at least?
Look, I think push is a strong word. Government has invited all sporting codes and various industries to present a case in terms of how the COVID-19 is affecting their particular industry or sport. And we've just done the same as everyone else. We're in the same queue. We're not being treated any differently. We don't expect special treatment in any way. But if you talk about golf compared to an obvious example like a sport like rugby, you can practice social distancing in golf, but how do you practice social distancing in a rugby match, for instance? So I think it is clear that when golf is eventually allowed back onto the fairways, we will be able to practice social distancing. It's a sport that lends itself to that. You can play on your own and as a one ball or as a two ball. It's interesting to see what New Zealand are doing. They have what they call a bubble. So if you are living at home in lockdown with 3 people, then they're in your bubble. And you can go and play golf with those 3 people. So there's various ways that different countries are addressing it. And our interest is to engage with government and get advice from them and guidance from them, because they're obviously taking advice from experts that we don't have, we weren't able to get to. So, if we can get guidance from government in that respect, we can adapt, we can put measures in place. And it's about being prepared for the eventual return, not about pushing to get back there ASAP. We really want to take guidance from government on this.
Have you received any of that guidance? Because I imagine that on paper it does sound as if golf is probably better off from a social distancing point of view to allow some form of safe resumption. Many would argue then that many individual sporting codes should be allowed to return, archery, lawn bowls, etc. But then would that make life quite difficult for some grey areas where perhaps a contact sport might feel quite hard done by, that not everyone is being painted with the same brush?
Look, you bring up an interesting point. I think that any sport that gets let back into the fold before another sport, or any industry for that matter, is going to be up for criticism. There will be envy. There will be people that say that they're not being fairly treated. So I think that's a very complex issue that applies to all sports and different industries. That's already happening. We're seeing people say, why can this industry operate and our industry can't? So, and I can imagine that situation will remain complex. And we're in the same boat as everyone else. So, other sports may get opened up before golf, I'm not sure, but we do have a a meeting with government this week in order for them to guide us as to how we should be proceeding.
Okay, well, we look forward to catching up with you once the meeting has been completed to see if there is any positive feedback for golfers around the country. Let's talk then about this wonderful relief fund that is being set up. Firstly, speak to us about how much is being raised, and tell me then where are those funds actually going?
So Golf RSA will put R1 million into the fund up front, and the idea is for the money to go to caddies and casual workers at golf clubs around the country. We're trying to get firstly to those that haven't really received much help yet. So the golf industry has responded in a wonderful way. More than R5 million has already been raised by individual golf clubs for caddies and casual workers. But the harsh reality is there are many tiny clubs who don't have the resources and haven't necessarily been able to help as much as they have liked to. So we'd like to step into that void and firstly try and help those people. That's stage one. And then stage two is to try and grow this fund through donations, maybe with us individual donations from golfers or corporate, although we're very aware of the fact that everyone's in the same boat in terms of how tough times are. So there's not much money, loose money floating around. But if we can create this fund, which we have done, and invite people to donate towards it, then we'll do that, and we'll have various initiatives to make it attractive for people to put in the money, lucky draws and that type of thing. But I think the most important thing is that the funding is going to help feed those people that are really struggling at the moment and people that are tied closely to our industry.
Grant, I just want to work out, we had Selwyn Nathan from the Sunshine Tour on the show not too long ago. He too spoke about a wonderful relief fund that is being set up to try and assist as much as possible. Is this in any way different to that, or is this working in conjunction with the Sunshine Tour? How would this then be slightly different or alike to what's being done there?
Yeah, so Sunshine Tour has some wonderful initiatives. I know that they're working closely with Feed South Africa, I think it is, and they are certainly putting funding into helping those that are needy. They're in full support of our initiative. It's not exactly the same initiative. It's a different one. But where they will be lending their support is through their networks and their players and their professionals to help us raise money on another level that will go into this COVID-19 relief that Golf RSA is setting up. And we hope that the golf unions and clubs and club members will help us and continue to contribute to that. But we felt that the need is immediate, and that's why we decided we needed to put in the money up front. And then as a second phase, start to raise some more so that we can try and sustain this fund